The unbreakable spirit. There are stories we hear, and there are stories that change us forever. This is not just about one girl, but about the courage that lives inside all of us. Today, I will tell you the story of Aarika, a girl who was born into the shadows of limitation, but chose to rise like the sun. Aarika was born in a small village where opportunities were rare, and dreams were often buried under the weight of survival. Her father was a daily wage laborer, and her mother stitched clothes for neighbors. From a very young age, Aarika noticed one thing. Her parents never stopped working. Day and night, hands swollen, backs bent, but spirits unbroken. One night, as she sat under a dim lantern, she whispered to herself, "If they can work this hard to survive, I will work harder to change our life." Her dream? To become the first doctor from her village. But for a girl like her, even thinking that was considered impossible. School was not easy. She had to walk 5 kilometers every morning, barefoot, carrying books that were torn and borrowed. Her classmates laughed at her clothes, at her accent, at her silence. But Aarika did not answer with anger. She answered with discipline. She would study under streetlights because electricity was a luxury her family couldn't afford. She would wake up before dawn, help her mother with chores, and then bury herself in books. When other children played, Aarika prepared for the future. When others slept, Aarika dreamed with open eyes. When she was 15, tragedy struck. Her father fell sick. The man who had carried bricks all his life could no longer stand. Doctors in the city demanded money for treatment, money the family didn't have. Aarika watched her father suffer, powerless. That night, she broke down. She questioned everything. Why me? Why my family? Why is life so unfair? But as tears fell, a fire ignited. If no one will save us, I will become strong enough to save others. It was no longer just about becoming a doctor. It was about becoming hope. The road ahead was brutal. To afford tuition, Aarika tutored younger kids. To buy books, she worked at a local shop. To manage time, she slept just 4 hours a night. People mocked her. Girls from here don't become doctors. They get married, they stay home. But Aarika's reply was silence and action. Every rejection became her motivation. Every insult became fuel. She failed exams. She broke down. She thought of quitting. But every time she remembered her father's smile, her mother's tired hands, and her promise to herself. At 18, she appeared for the toughest medical entrance exam. Thousands competed. Most came from rich families, coached in big cities. Aarika had nothing but determination. The result? She failed. But instead of giving up, she prepared again. This time with more hunger, more focus, more fight. The next year, she passed. Her name appeared on the list. She had made it to medical college. For her family, it was a miracle. For her village, it was a revolution. Medical college was another battlefield. English lectures were hard to follow, expenses were crushing, and loneliness was her constant companion. But Aarika had mastered the art of resilience. She studied harder than anyone. She found part-time jobs. She stayed awake through countless nights, and slowly, the girl who once studied under streetlights became the topper of her batch. Years later, when she finally wore her white coat and stethoscope, she didn't just wear it for herself. She wore it for every girl told she couldn't. For every parent who sacrificed silently. For every dream buried in the dust of poverty. Her first patient was a little girl with pneumonia. As she treated her, Aarika's eyes filled with tears. She remembered her father's illness, her helplessness. But this time, she was not helpless. This time, she was the answer. Aarika returned to her village as Dr. Aarika. The same villagers who once doubted her now welcomed her with pride. She opened a small clinic, treating people who could not afford big hospitals. Her father, now old but smiling, sat at the entrance every day, watching the line of patients. Her mother finally rested, her hands free from endless stitching. And Aarika. She had become what she once needed, a healer, a warrior, a symbol of hope. Aarika's story teaches us something timeless. You don't need perfect conditions to dream. You need courage. You need faith. You need the stubbornness to rise again after every fall. Because greatness is not born in comfort. It is born in the fire of struggle. And if a girl from a forgotten village, with no money, no privilege, no connections, can become a doctor